This is the former intellectual savior of the masses, Damien Sandow, now known as Aron Stevens, reminding you to catch the A and C podcast with Andrew Campbell and William Chili Willie Jones, good friend of mine. Now Andrew's a friend of mine too. We've all talked, and I hope to be on here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the A and C podcast. I'm your host today, Andrew Campbell. And in the house today, we have ECW Original, Mr. Chili Willie.
No.
And our special guest today, he is none other than, formerly known as Damien Sandow, he is Aron Stevens. Woo!
Yes.
My man. Yes, sir. Aron, how you doing today, man?
Man, I'm great. You know what? We were just talking. I had some had to get a new car battery today, which was always fun, and it's been like one thing after another. And but you know what? Ended up getting a battery. It needed a passenger side windshield wiper, which in California we use our wipers maybe 3 times a year, but still it was like it had to get. And so yeah, you know what? Like the car's right now, and we're doing it. You know, like stuff will happen from day to day, but you deal with it. Talking about that, so yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, we glad we appreciate you taking out the time to come visit us on the ASC podcast, man. We had Cal Davis on. We had who's the other one? Andrew Sal
Renaro.
So you know, yeah. So NWA Powerr
representing,
brother. But I was so advocating to try to get you on, man. I was like, yo, we got to get A-Rod on because you know, I've known him since OVW, you know what I mean? So I said I wanted to get you on, man. And before Andrew gets to the question, I just want to say, man, when I was down at OVW, you were the only guy down there who came to me. I remember this vividly, man. One day we were just sitting there somewhere, and I was just sitting on the bleachers. They were putting up the ring, and you came over, man, and you were just like, "How you doing, Chili, man? How was Iraq and shit like that?" And it was real cool and everything, just making sure I was okay and everything, even though I was still in Iraq mode because I didn't really debrief really well. So, but you really came over, man, and that's what stuck out to me about you. I didn't know you at all. Didn't know half of the people down there, but after that, I was like, yo, this cat's cool, man. He's good shit.
Oh, well, wow, that was cool. Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
You know what? Wow, that's cool that meant that much to you, man. And and again, you know what? We say thank you for your service. We're just past the 4th of July, but I always said this to anyone, you know, man, woman that signs up and can with the potential to take a bullet for this country is a better person than me because you know, I absolutely love this country, and I you know, we got a lot going on here right now, but you know, in principle, you know, and again, you've been other places, you've defended, you know, the United States, and you see we do have a lot of things good.
Yeah,
you know,
well, I appreciate
always can be better, but in my opinion, man, again, serves is just a better human being than me.
That's right, man.
Thank you.
No,
Aron, but before I forget, I got to ask you. Let's say up and coming wrestler. All right, he's been training for 3 years, but he's only had 5 matches so far. What advice would you get for him or her to get more matches under the belt?
well, first thing I'd say is just quit the business, but and not because there's 5 matches. You don't know what you're doing yourself. Just get out now while you still can. Sorry, but no. In all seriousness, you know, there's different philosophies, right? There's quantity over quality. If you work for, you know, a not so good promotion with people that have no business giving advice in terms of how to be a pro wrestler, and here's how you can judge that: what have they done, and what do their peers say about them? You know, if you had never been with a major promotion, you know, or like they can't like look you up. Oh, you've done this, you've done that. Cool. Chances are they're not necessarily the people you want to be training under. You know, and look, this goes really in any kind of aspect, right? Like you can't teach something that you don't know how to do it or that you've never done before, right? Like
Mhm.
I could learn how to stand and like swing a baseball bat, but there's no way I could be a batting coach because I just don't know the little ins and outs of it, right? And like
Right.
we're playing the same sport, we're just playing it at a very, very different level. And the same can be said to where if 3 years and 5 matches, who are you working for? And what can you be doing? If you have to move, sometimes then maybe you should, like OVW, and I think when Willie was there, like that was a training ground and a breeding ground for talent. In terms, you had people, everyone had a mind there. Danny Davis and Lance Storm was there. Rip Rogers, who I think is one of the best trainers out there ever. And you always had someone say, "Hey, try it this way. What about this?" And at the same time, though, we worked a lot. We worked about every weekend. We did TV every Wednesday, and we had at least one house show on the weekends, usually 2. So that was just surround yourself with people who know what they're doing, that you can actually like look them up and kind of trace their pedigree, and then work as much as possible because you can intellectualize wrestling, in my opinion, so much and say, oh, you should have blocked this kick or you shouldn't have done this spot, or like, no. If the people are hollering and making noise, you're doing your job. And make yourself look believable and do it in terms of what the promoter wants. Are you winning, you're losing, who cares? It's all fake anyway. But just get people off their seats, feeling what you want them to feel. And that's it.
Yeah,
I hear you, man.
That's kind of my advice also. If you're sitting around and you're training for 3 years, but you're not working actually shows, you're kind of hurting yourself. I think you need to get out there, get that experience. You know what I mean? And then go back to your teacher and say, hey, can I work on this? What do I need to do? You know what I mean? So it's like with Jim Cornette used to teach us, after our house shows and things like that. So, my advice also to you, Andrew, is, yeah, man, get out there and work, man. Try to work with some promotions. Some promotions are going to stink. Some promotions are going to be pretty good, but get out there, get your ass going. You know what I mean? So that's how you make it to the top, like guys like A-Rod there.
That's right.
Yeah, you just got for you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Get out there and work. No, seriously, get out there and work. Again, we can teach batting technique all day, but at the end of the day, you got to get in there. You got to play with live rounds, man. You need the crowd. You need the situation of something doesn't go right. Excuse me. Something doesn't go right. What do we do? Like you just have to train yourself to get there. And at the end of the day, remember this, dude. Maybe this will help you. The less you give a shit. I don't know if I can say that on this podcast, but
you good.
Hell yeah.
The less you give a shit, the easier it'll get. Do not, under any circumstances, compromise the integrity of the business. Meaning, if the promoter says don't use a chair or you're gonna do the favor tonight, don't like small package a guy and like really cradle him up so you beat him, or don't use a steel chair. But like, hey, you got 10 minutes. You're gonna do the favor. Get him as loud as you can, right? The less you give a shit about, oh my God, if this gets messed up in my spots and this and that, and the more you care about what are the people going to do or what are the people doing right now, the easier it will get. So make sure your punches and kicks look solid. Make sure your strikes look solid. Make sure your holds look solid. That's what I say about not compromising the integrity of the business, right? So if you get everything in there tight and looking good, really like, anything else that happens, if you had a bunch of spots planned if something is going south, just go with it. Who cares? You know what? Because you'll get to end tomorrow or next weekend or whenever you're booked. So just, definitely like take that approach as opposed to, oh, I messed up a leapfrog or I messed up my moonsault or I don't know what kind of moves you do, but like, don't let that stuff get you, man, because it's all, dude, people that do that are marks straight up. That they're aware more about their high spots and the moves they're doing and their entrance. No, like stuff happens on live shows. Go out there, adjust, and do it. That's what makes a professional from a mark, in my opinion.
Yes, sir.
And yes, I said mark. Sorry, I know is that a dirty word now?
You know.
Yes, sir. I got you, man.
Got it, man. No, you got the right idea. Just, Willie knows what he's doing. So.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Aaron, how did the pandemic affect you last year?
Really, dude, it's messed up, right? So like when I left wrestling, I moved out to California, had some opportunities in acting and things, and was actually starting to go good. Like at the end of 2019, it was like my best year ever. I did like some episodes of Magnum PI. I'm like, all right, this is good. We're rolling. And then
Man.
NWA called me. And I was out of wrestling completely, but like NWA said, hey, just come check this out. Okay, whatever. Loved NWA. That whole thing started happening. Then okay, pandemic. But I thought the cool part was, it definitely made me kind of just reassess where I'm at, like what makes me happy, what kind of, what's important to me. And I ended up again on the West Coast, but it's out in Malibu, so it's like, the ocean's right there, and
Nice.
may not get Postmates out here or DoorDash, but there could be worse places to be stuck in the event of the apocalypse. So that's what I did. We made it through. We're here. We have plenty of toilet paper and paper towels, and pretty much that was my quarantine.
That's crazy.
Nice, man.
Yo, I got a question, Drew. Damien, like I said, we were down in OVW, man, 2005 to 2006. When I was down there with you guys, there was guys that were like, you could tell they were going to be like huge stars. Like Bobby Lashley was one of them for sure. When we would go to Raw, SmackDown, people would just huddle around them, Batista and all them guys. They were just like all on them and shit. Here's my question to you, coming out of OVW, making your debut in Raw, whatever, or SmackDown, whichever one it was. I'm not sure. Did you ever think that you would be as big as you are or you were at that time, or did you just think that you got a gimmick, you're gonna work it, you know what I mean? But it kind of took off,
I expected it. Quite frankly, I expected it. It was one of those things where, and I was there actually 2005-ish. I was on a tag team with Casey James and everything, and it just didn't work out. And it was such a, like, all I needed was a little bit of like, okay, let's try to give you something from the office. And I always knew that, yeah, like this is going to happen. I mean, that's when like, then that gimmick started working too much. And then, okay, let's try to cool you down and put me with Miz. And I just went, okay, well, you're getting me TV time. This is what we'll do with this. And then I wrestle the Invisible Man. And then, to me, when I go out there, it's, and like, we just had this discussion of like, you kind of can't give a shit, but I don't know what I'm going to do legitimately. And people that work with me know this, like, first thing, like you will be protected. You will be safe at all costs. We will tell the story we have to tell, but at times if the audience is buying one thing, or I'm going to go with it. Like, so you can either do it or, but like, let's just, again, you have to have that trust. And I've been lucky enough to work with people that I trust and stuff like that. But, sometimes you just got to roll, man, and let it happen. Because if you take,
hold on. Let me cut you off for a second. I want to go back to what you said. You said your gimmick, you knew in your heart that everyone knows that when they're wrestling, they want to, be this whatever. But you said something just now. You said they kind of cooled it off your gimmick. So do you think? And I'm not trying to throw heat or shade at anyone. I'm just saying, do you think that your stardom was getting up there, and someone was like, "Yo, hold up, this guy's rising. We got to clip his wings." Do you feel that happened in a sort of roundabout way?
Yes.
Man.
Yes. I'm not the only guy they've done that to. They've just done it to me more than once, which is kind of, like I said, I think the unique thing about my career, to where like, okay, you're going to do this to me. I'll come up with a whole new character, and you don't even have to spend one red cent trying to repackage me. I'll figure it out myself. And so again, it's at zero cost to them. But like, I just, there's always a way around, man. If you use your brain, you kind of like think, what's the most I can make of this particular assignment I've been given tonight? You know, when you show up to Raw or SmackDown, they give you this is what you're doing on TV. Okay, let's make the most of it. You know?
Heck yeah, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you take that like personally, or is it just you go to
I
his business?
I did, and that was my mistake.
Mm.
Now it was personal, yes, because they're affecting my career, and like, you know, you can't. The way I would look at it, like when my music would hit and I'd go out there, like you can't fake the fan response. You know, they can pipe crowd noise in, they can't take crowd noise out, and that's why I think I was kind of have the fan base I've had, because like that, you know, on live TV, it comes through the screen. You can see what the people in the arena are digging and everything else. So yeah, I just, my thing is now, like, okay, if I didn't fit the WWE's mold, that's cool, but you know, I think they have to really assess what their mold is, because again, I look at things very objectively. Look at the ratings.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
we can say the show is horrible, right? But I mean, people, like, anytime anyone gets released from there, they say how like the product's unwatchable, and it's this, it's that. And those are people that are just getting released. So like, okay, maybe it's some bitterness or whatever. However, like, you know, the ratings, the actual amount of people that are tuning in to WWE, it's less than ever. And during a quarantine or a pandemic, when we needed more original content, shouldn't their ratings be thriving? And that, to me, like that's why, like with NWA, how it's a different model. It's wrestling. It's pro wrestling, the way it should be presented. And that, again, that kind of got me to put my spandex on again, because it was a really cool thing.
Awesome.
Good. Now, what about AEW? Do you think that because everyone makes that comparison, WWE, AEW, those are the two right now. You know, people are just making their comparison, and then you guys may become like, you know, they may say Impact, and then, you know, NWA Powerr, and then Ring of Honor. But anyway, AEW. What is your take on AEW? Do you think that your Damien Sandow gimmick would work there, or is it just
that would work anywhere? And I feel like Vince owns, but like any incarnation of Damien Sandow would work anywhere, because it was designed to. You know, from the Hallelujah chorus for the entrance music. The thing is, right, as a new talent, it is. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
yes, go ahead.
You're good.
You there? Are we still there?
Yes.
Yeah.
So like the Hallelujah chorus on Dell, everyone knows that. Everyone knows Hallelujah, like that whole thing. So it's easier to associate a song that you already know with the new guy coming out. And the fact that it was the Hallelujah chorus, okay, so I'm pretty obnoxious off the bat. And then you have the stoic, the robe and the beard, and then you take it off, there's the pink, and then like the whole the juxtaposition of personality traits, from like, I would go like Hannibal Lecter, and then I would, you know, kind of go into almost like a genius Lanny Poffo thing, and I'd go back to Hannibal Lecter. And the character was designed to get heat, and it did. It got heat for a second it came out. You know, there was someone else who I got my vignettes aired on SmackDown, and theirs aired on Raw, and it was the same time. And they invested a lot of money in the this other guy's vignettes who was on Raw, like tons of money. And they just stuck me in a pre-tape room and said, "Go." And in the long run, I mean, that character, you know, my character kind of proved its weight. And yeah, so like my answer to that question is yes, like that character would work, and including like the evolution thereof that character, because I had so many more things of how the character was going to morph through time. And there were so many different directions we could have gone with it. And, you know, it is what it is, but I'm pumped people still actually remember who it was. So that's kind of cool.
Dude, it was an awesome character, man. It really was.
Thank you.
I wanna backtrack a little bit to the time you started training with Killer Kowalski. How much did you learn from that man?
Man, a lot. it's funny because I credit Rip Rogers with really kind of giving me the mind to go into any arena and make money. But the thing about Killer or Walter, as I knew him, was he would always say, right? Like, first of all, he's the guy, he agreed to train me at 16. So I would not be sitting here right now if it wasn't for Killer Kowalski. And I truly owe the man so much. But he would always say, make the people notice you, make the people notice you. And it wasn't until I was like wrestling in Puerto Rico and something happened, and like I was talking to Carlos and kind of like, oh yeah, the light bulb went off. And that's what he was trying to say. It just took me a while to actually like process that, digest it, and apply it. But yeah, in retrospect, I learned so much from him. And, it was such a great way to break in. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Awesome.
Nice. Yeah, I remember growing up and watching not watching, but getting the wrestling magazines out of the store, and they would have the his advertising of his school inside the magazine. And that at 16 in 1986, I actually sent a letter to his school. I was like, I wanted to come to your school. I want to be a wrestler. Blah 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 blah. My coach said, "Hey, Chili, you want to go to college football, play junior college or whatever." I was like, no, I want to be a pro wrestler. He's like, what? And so I sent a letter to Mr. Killer Kowalski's school, and he actually replied. He was like, yeah, you can come, but you got to pay such and such. But at 16, you ain't got that money. So that was my first like really true intro or dealings when it come to pro wrestling was, picking up a magazine and seeing his ad in the paper in a magazine, and sending out a letter to him, Killer Kowalski.
That's awesome.
Big ups.
Right on.
Heck yeah, dude. Now, Aaron, not too long after you started wrestling, you had numerous tryouts on Sunday Night Heat. And one episode, you wrestled Raven. And Raven broke your 2 fingers that night.
Yes,
really?
Did. No, not in real life. No, what's funny about that? And Chili, I'm sure you have countless Scotty stories, but he was always so cool to me. Like and there are people who say, I think he's this, he's that. I have always gotten along with him. We've always been chill on the indies and stuff. Like right after he left WWE, and I was kind of like coming up, almost getting ready to go there. He said, no, I want to work Aaron. I'm comfortable with him and this and that. And like nothing but a pro to me. And that's pretty much everything I have to say about Raven. So like I learned a lot from being around him. Learned a lot from being in the ring with him. And I have nothing but positive things to say about him.
Awesome, dude.
Nice. I got a question. Now going back to that Damien Sandow, but when you were tagging with Miz, how did that transpire into like a comedy type of situation? Like you're doing his shadow.
Stunt.
I mean, is that something they said for you to do it, or is that something you came up on your own, or what?
I was bored on Raw, and I was frustrated. I was right after the whole Money in the Bank thing happened and everything.
Yeah.
And I just said, you know what? I'm not going to stand out here. I got to do something. So I just was like, all right. And he had just happened to get hit in the face, and I just sold it a little bit. And like the glasses on the end of the nose, and like Tamara was like, okay, I'm going to get fired, whatever. He goes, did you just sell when I go, yes, aren't I his stunt double, his understudy? I'm trying to learn. He goes, do whatever you want. I will be the only one that will pull you back if you go too far. Okay. Did not talk to the man for 9 months. 9 months. Wow. Miz and I go out there. We would not. I mean, if it was involved in the finish, obviously, like if it's a TV finish, a pay-per-view finish, or even like a house show, like the finishing part of the match, we kind of knew. But the other 90% of that, I swear to you, whether it was on TV or on a pay-per-view, it was all scripted. I mean, unscripted. We did not talk about it. Miz and I are cool. Miz and I are boys, but we never like we didn't ride together. We didn't talk about spots. It was all timing. Miz knew
Man.
when I do something, like, or if Miz was in the ring, when Miz gets hit, give it a couple extra seconds. I'm going to do something. And like, it was
Really?
a back and forth thing. And yeah, like that was, we didn't have to talk because we were communicating on a different level there. So yeah, it was fun.
That's
Love it.
awesome.
That's crazy.
That's awesome that they didn't fire you for that. You know what I mean? I mean, because
Dude,
you
like,
you could do less than that and get fired.
yep.
That's awesome.
I key on the business. So when I said my advice to you was like, don't compromise the integrity of the business. Yeah, I guess not so much because look at the Mizdar run. That's all I did, but whatever.
let's
And now you in NWA. Go ahead, Andrew. Go ahead.
I got you. Let's backtrack a little bit to that Money in the Bank match against John Cena, man. Did you feel any type of way when they had you lose that championship match after everything you've been through?
Yes, of course I was pissed.
Man.
I'd been booked like crap, but like got on the mic, right? If I did a favor for someone, I would lose a match, but get on the mic and still you're uncrowned champion and hold the briefcase up and everything. Which keeps your heat, and I get that, but like the way it all kind of worked out was, I can understand, like, we were going up against the World Series and Monday Night Football, so it was a ratings issue. John was coming back, so it was like that was the hand I was dealt that night. I was pissed, but in terms of how I over delivered and kind of turned myself babyface, the fact that, like, okay, I went to SmackDown the next night, there was some stuff, but then they just that's when they started completely cooling me off after that. And times too, like with me and Brodus Clay, now known as Pirates, like we had some house show matches. The building was shaking, and then certain people saw that, went to the agent, and like, hey, they need to go on, and they should only do 5 minutes because it's taken away from the show. It's like, no,
man, oh my god.
So that's as honest an answer as I can give to that.
Man.
So now fast forward, you in NWA Powerr, right? You do this karate gimmick. Which is hilarious. I love it.
No, what happened? I was doing like my Hollywood, I'm back in wrestling now kind of deal. There was the character Josephus, who wanted him and Bill try a new character known as the Question Mark, and him and I have been friends for a while since we met each other at Impact. And he's sitting there talking,
brother.
going,
"Yes, rest in peace,
dude. God rest his soul." Yes, still I can't believe that one. But no, he's talking to me. And he's going, all right, hey, what do I do with this character? It's this, it's that. I go, okay, to make this character more than a circus, which, look, you look like you're from the 1980s. You got Jerry Lawler's old tights on. The mask, the Question Mark. It's very like, there was a character called Dream Machine, which was kind of a rib on Dusty back in the day. So it felt very Dream Machine, but it was essentially a parody of a certain time period in wrestling, right? So I go, what you need to do is you need to add some layers to that character to like furthermore embrace that time period, right? So where it's going to make people think, I go, you're a karate master. Because the show Cobra Kai was really popular and I was just kind of into karate. And I said, we're going to make you a karate master. Because I go, yeah, like you are the heel that in the territory days, they would bring in to work Lawler and build up for 6 months. And he had it was originally, we were going to call it the Mongrovian Spike. Because we said it, you're going to be from Mongolia and use the Mongolian Spike and everything. And then we ended up inventing a country called Monrovia, which was great. That character, because I was and have been known to kind of like do a lot of the talking. So how do we balance that, with me as a heel and him as a face? And fortunately, I had been in that situation before with Miz, so I kind of have an idea of how those dynamics work. So I'm going to talk a bunch of shit, and then I am going to say the word karate at some point. Then you, because you're having a hard time understanding English, you grab it and you say karate, and you will t-shirt. And that's what he did. And such a thing. And the coolest thing for me, and it did kind of get me to appreciate what I had, because I was mad. I mean, I like, screw wrestling, whatever. You know, not at the fans, but just at the business, how like, what more do you want me to do? Like, I'm getting a better response than your top guys, you know? I'm
Right.
the number heel selling t-shirt in the company, and you yank my
Wow.
merch off of live. Like, come on.
Oh man.
But so what Josephus did in that whole thing, like, he would call me and he'd be like, I just did a signing, and he goes, I can't believe it. I had a longer line than so and so, and like, people actually are coming up to me and telling me how much they like it. He goes, some of the boys are, and like, Sid came up to me and said this. Like, I have no idea. Like, this is amazing. And then, like, something that I took for granted was, like, every time I would go out there after, you know, I kind of got myself established in Sandow, like, I at least had, like, I didn't have to worry about people making noise.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, when they music and you go, like, you have that, it's either the yeah or the guttural boo, and like, I kind of went, oh yeah, not everyone has that. Like, I have something special in terms of the gift that's been given to me from the fans, in terms of their appreciation to it, at least to where whatever company I was in, it was like, okay, when I'm coming out, they know they're going to see something, and they had always been so gracious into just, whether it was boos or cheers, be there for me. And I think that's because, like, I've always put everything I had into a performance. But I'm sorry, I'm digressing here. Like,
It's all good.
So made me what I had, and I saw the business. It was almost like, you know, when like a kid in a candy store for the first time, or like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. He's like, yeah, you don't have to do anything. I just go like this, and they go, no. I go, yes, but at the same time, I'm like, no, this is cool. And the fact, like, they didn't make him any better than Josephus, and the fact that I got to be there with him, that was a huge privilege for me, as opposed to me being like, okay, come on, we're gonna, like, no, it was me kind of, through Josephus, rediscovering my love for professional wrestling.
Awesome.
And
awesome.
and that's a shoot, man. That is something that it really was something that caused me to kind of just reassess my whole relationship with the industry that preoccupied the first part of my life.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I can. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I mean, it's the inside, the politics, you know, the cliques, that kind of grimy shit.
Yeah.
That you know, wrestlers, you know, it leaves a bad taste in our mouths, man. And it's like, you know, what the fuck, you know, it's just like we just want to get out here and perform, you know what I mean? And the thing is, there's certain people, you know, if you start outperforming them, or you get more, you know, fans are starting to, you know, pop for you more than them. I mean, they shit on you. You know, it's sort of like Daniel Bryan. I mean, I'm quite sure they didn't want him to be in that position, but with that yes shit, you know, I mean, he got over it. It was like they couldn't do anything. They couldn't do nothing.
After Daniel, the dynamic changed.
Right.
More apt. They were more apt to cool people down.
Control.
Like, let's stop this before it starts, kind of deal. And that was right after the Daniel stuff. So yeah, that was. But I mean, I was so glad it worked out for Daniel. You know.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Because you know, like I said, when we were at OVW, man, you know, I saw from my eyes, you know, coming from ECW and then going to that locker room, you know, I didn't know you guys at all, but from what I saw, I already saw like certain people getting that groom, you know what I mean? And I have to be honest, I didn't see you getting a groom, you know, I just saw you as, you know, they were just like, okay, hey, Aaron, you know, I didn't even know your gimmick back in OVW. So it was like, you know, you was just like a mid-carder like I was, you know, but then after I left, and then it was like a couple years later, I'm like, yo, I was so happy. I was like, yo, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So, you know, but then they didn't let it ride long enough. You know what I mean? They didn't keep you on, man, because that shit that you were doing with the Miz shit, man, that shit, it was over like a motherfucker. It was like, I mean, you had everybody popping. And I know for a fact, you know, just by being in OVW, I know for a fact that people in the back were like, some people, you know.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing because, like, I've had so many like different characters, and like some people like intellectual savior, and then some people the stunt double. So it's like, okay, like which version of me you kind of like? But I also kind of cool like that I've been able to be that guy that I can morph into whatever I need to morph into, you know. And that to me, I've always kind of taken pride in that. Like, if that's my little niche, so to speak, so be it. You know, it's cool because it keeps it fresh, and I get bored quick. You know, I do. There's a sort of like, one character is nice, but you can only do it for so long, and the fans get bored. So you always got to keep adding new coats of paint, new colors.
There you go, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Dude, for real, dude. Aaron, was the Damien Sandow gimmick, was that a play off of Idol Stevens?
No, not at all.
Okay.
That was when I was the FCW 15 champion, which was like the version of the TV title. And it was the number 2 title in FCW at the time. And so I was main eventing house shows.
Wow.
So that tells you something. This gentleman who was working at the as like Johnny's number 2 guy at the time, he's no longer with WWE, so it's not. But he wasn't very how do I put this nicely? Good at his job. You know, looked like he was up for about 10 days and, you know, chemically assisted, if you know what I'm saying, all the time.
Lit. He was lit.
Up to me and was like, yeah, you know, I think you're just too bland. You know, we just want people to, like, when I see your name, I want to see your name or where it says like FCW champions. Like, I go, I'm the FCW 15 champion. Goes, oh, I didn't know that. It must be a new list. I've been champion for 3 months. You know, and then like saying I'm bland, like I don't have charisma. Come on, man, you can say a lot of crap about me, but that ain't one of them.
Right.
So he actually got mad, and he was like, "I'll never." He sat down and goes, "All right, these mother effers, they want to be bland. We're gonna show them bland. You're gonna get a robe, and you're gonna get a towel, and you're gonna look like Luther, and then you're gonna take them out." And like, okay, so that's what we did.
Awesome, dude.
Like, all right, here we go.
Ooh,
dude, for real.
Yeah, I like it.
Now, Aaron, your time in OVW, you were with Beth Phoenix at times. How was Beth Phoenix in OVW?
Oh, great. I mean, she was awesome.
Yeah. She was. Beth Phoenix, if you watching this show, what's up?
Yeah. No, just awesome. I mean, awesome person outside the ring. Awesome, amazing talent in the ring. Yeah, there's no, like, I was very lucky. I worked with very good people.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
There was some good talent down there, man. Very good talent.
Man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That whole OVW class was cool.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, man, that was a good class. You know what I mean?
Heck yeah.
Guys like yourself, the Phoenix, Hall, you know, Dolph Ziggler, the Pope, you know, Ken Anderson, John Morrison. Shit, the list goes on. You know what I mean? The Beast. God bless his soul, the Beast. You know, so I mean, we had, you know, and training was off the chain. You know what I mean? So I enjoyed my time there. I learned some things there. You know, and so it was all good.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Steve, Aaron, your triple threat match in OVW. I saw that it got cut off before the match ended on TV.
I'll be very honest. I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
It was for the.
With like maybe it'll jog my memory. I don't. Yeah, I can't remember. Like I hope I didn't sound like an ass, but
It was with the for the OVW championship with the Jacob Duncan. I think that's what his name was.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely, yes.
Yes. You guys had a triple threat match, and it went off the air before the match was even ended. Did you know about that, or?
I have no recollection of ever wrestling Jacob Duncan, but I'm sure I did. I have no recollection of things being taken off the air or anything like that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but like
That's all
and
right.
here's hello. I'm one of these people that if you asked me what I did last week, I probably couldn't tell you in terms of performance. Because like when it comes time to perform, like I mentally go to a different place, and like when I'm done, I'm done. Like I take my shower, I put on my regular clothes, and I try to like take mentally that part of my brain, say, okay, we're gonna put it in my suitcase, you know, and try to leave everything I have out there. And then afterwards, like I just enjoy the rush of having done what I just did. But I'm thinking, but okay, what are we doing next? What's whatever? Like it literally to me, right? Performing. A lot of times, like if I have promo segments, I'm more exhausted than if I'd wrestled a match because it's a very like, I don't know, man. It's a different deal with me.
Yeah.
Like, especially if I'm talking in front of a live crowd, it's however many people having a conversation, and
well,
you know, it's just.
I gotta say, this is my last question to you. What are you doing as far as acting? Tell our viewers what you're into now.
So cool. Just got signed on for a horror flick, which is cool. Just did a horror,
Nice.
which a dungeon master, that was fun. No, and like I said before pandemic, I was doing some network things. I did Better Things for FX Network. Midnight Texas, I had 3 episodes of that for NBC. I did CBS guy. Couple like I've been in some indie movies, and they're starting to win awards now, which is really cool. It was like the first indie movie I did was you ever seen Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
You know Mike, Jonathan Banks, that actor that plays Mike. Older ball guy, like fixes everything.
Yeah.
Okay. He's in Better Call Saul too. So like first thing I did was with him. I was like, okay, this is cool. So yeah, it was good, and it's starting to ramp up again. You know, I was meeting with some people like for some pretty well known soap operas, which I was like, okay, maybe, but like I've had some in the last month. I've had some really good auditions and like landed a couple things, so it's good. You know, as the industry gets started and going again, I'm just ready. And you know what, this time too, like I'm actually using wrestling. You know, I'm not, or I shouldn't say using wrestling. I'm looking at wrestling through a different set of eyes, where it's something that I genuinely doing, and it's something that I love. I had a match. It was a tribute match to Josephus a couple months back, and it was funny. It was the first time I had to wrestle like that in a while, and I didn't train. I mean, this is coming out of the pandemic. I didn't train. I was fat as hell. But when I was in there, it's like my body and my brain, they just went, okay, let's go. I like came out of that and I went, well, I can still do this. That was pretty cool. Awesome. So, you know, I think you may kind of see me get a little bit more into wrestling, shall we say, one way or another. So yeah, just stay tuned. I think by the end of the year, it'll be interesting to see like where I'm at and what I'm doing, and you know, like who I'm with and everything. Yeah.
Nice, dude.
Yeah,
nice, man.
We want to see you back in the ring, brother. Doing
Heck
your
yeah,
thing.
man.
Yeah. NWA, you know, if you're not watching NWA Powerr, it's and you know what, Willie, I've equated this because you know who is our talent relations guy is Simon Diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Okay, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah, and Pat. Pat Keeney is his name.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, he is amazing. Like Billy could not have picked a better human being for that position, because it's like it's one of those locker rooms where everyone's happy. Like we know that we're different. Like what we are, Willie, in 2020 is what you guys were in the 90s in terms of, no, we're not the extreme people, but no, we're the, like, you guys had the stones, shall we say, to go there and be extreme, everything like that, right? And to do what was counterculture. Well, at NWA, that's what we're doing. We are counterculture in the sense of like, we're looking at wrestling and like, hey, wrestling's about characters and stories and matches where it looks like grown men and women beating each other up, to where if you are an average and you look at like someone on TV, you're like, this is like the same kid I kicked out of my yard for trying to skateboard on my driveway. You know what I mean? As opposed to like, oh wow, that's someone I wouldn't want to fight in the bar.
Mm.
Yeah. Right.
And we're not afraid to go there. We're not afraid to say like, we are the alternative. This is who we are. This is what we do, and we put it out there. And the response has been great. So I definitely dig it. You know?
I want to say correction. I meant when you said Simon Diamond, I was thinking of Nova. I heard he was down there
Nova.
too. Mike,
Yeah,
I heard he was there too. Yeah. So, but yeah, Pat, definitely, man. That's awesome that you guys got some guys down there, whatever, and yo, when you go back there, you tell some of those guys I said hello, the Pope, tell Mickey James I said hello.
Absolutely.
Get their asses here on A&C podcast. We want them here.
God, actually, it's funny you mentioned Nova. I was talking to Nova a few days ago.
Oh, okay.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Killing it in Louisville, man. Killing it in Louisville.
Awesome, dude.
Nice.
Yeah.
Aron, any advice for up and coming wrestlers going to TV? I want to ask you about up and coming wrestlers going to TV, psychology with all that stuff, and advice on promos as well.
Yeah, again, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. I think it's absolutely stupid to wear 3-piece friggin' suits to TV, or like even 2-piece suits and dress up to get a tot. Look, it is stupid. It is ridiculous. However, that's the way the world is. So present yourself like a professional, right? Do not show up with shorts and a t-shirt. Look, if I had a wrestling company, people would be fined for showing up in suits. Okay, to be I don't own a wrestling company. So look professional, right? Look, whatever you have going on, look like you belong. Look like if you were walking in an airport, people would notice you, right? And for some people, hey, dude, that's what works for me. Do the open shirt, no tie. Do what works for you, but just don't show up like you're ready to work out. That's just, it's the way the world is. It's not practical, but it's true. Keep your body in shape. Look like a professional. Who gives a crap how many flips you can do, because there's already people doing 1 million flips. Look like you stand out. Also, on top of it, just be cool. Like, don't be overly like, and this is one of the things I hate, right? And I've been there. It's like, you want to shake everyone's hand. And like at NWA, like I tell like the new people, like, look, hey, it's really cool, thank you, but like, because if I'm trying to put a match together for someone and someone, like, it's just awkward, right? If it's a narrow hallway, and like, I don't want to make new people feel awkward. So I'll always be like, hey man, thank you very much, nice to meet you. You need anything, let me know. And like, just so you know, I am not one of these people. If you don't shake my hand every day, or if you don't, I do not get offended. I go, we're all on the same, we're all on the same level, we're all doing our thing, we're all working for the same end result. So just, you don't have to shake my hand every day. I don't need like to be held up in some high regard and like to feed my own ego. Like, no, just like, let's just be practical, So, but at the same time, find the people who's hiring you, who's doing this. Hi, so-and-so, nice to meet you. Be comfortable with all the talent, I say like the boys, but it's, the guys and girls now, and just use common sense, right? Like, use common sense. And if you don't have any common sense, then just get out of the business, because you know what? We're at a point now, the world's too complicated anyway. So if you don't know what common sense is, go do something else. So yeah.
Heck yeah.
Exactly. Man, we appreciate this. Definitely.
What's your advice for psychology in a wrestling match for a wrestler?
Remember, it's all about the people outside the ring, not about the people inside the ring. When you put matches together, like when I put a match together for someone, I never think of moves. In fact, moves are quite an annoyance to me because I have to do them. But I always, like, when I'm putting a match together, right? Like, let's say we have a finish where if I'm the heel and I'm going over. So I want the people from the finish to be as upset at me. I want old ladies climbing the barricade trying to claw my eyes out. Like, that's the level of going for. What do we have to do to get there? Like, how do we get the heat? Do we jumpstart it and beat the crap out of the babyface where he comes back? Does the babyface kick the crap out of me and then I poke him in the eyes? how do we use our referee? Referees are so important, and people think refs are working against the talent some of the times, but it's not the case. If you work with your referee and like, hey, can we cheat? If you put more time into thinking about how you're going to cheat and how you're going to get people to dislike you as opposed to flips, because newsflash heals. This is a breaking news thing, the little graphic on the recording thing. But if you're a bad guy and you do a cool move, people are going to kind of like you, and you ain't that bad of a guy.
Mm.
So long run, yeah, you'll get your stuff and you'll be able to Instagram and do whatever the hell it is you do with your little clips. But what good is it? Because if people don't pay to see you get the crap kicked out of you, guess what? When the time comes and you can't do those flips anymore, they ain't going to care about you.
Right.
Because there'll be some. They care about you as an individual. They care about who you are and what you're doing on the show. They care about your character. At the very least, you can make a lot of money signing autographs the rest of your life.
Good answer. Fucking
Yes,
good
sir.
answer.
Dude, yes. And last but not least, advice on wrestling and mental health.
Always, like I told you kind of how I deal with my stuff, right? Like everything I have goes into my performance. And I now am at a point where it's like taking off a mask or a little helmet, right? And I put it away, and then I'm regular Aaron again, which is still, questionable, but no, just remember, like, whatever happens, however bad a situation may seem, there's always tomorrow in the business, and you can always fix it. You can always get better. You can always learn. You can always adjust. So don't let the grind get you, right? That's all. Just and check in with yourself. Understand, like, tell yourself, as you're going to the show, this is fake. Nothing I do here is real. People, I tell you what, there's a lot of guys who think that they're tough guys, and they're not. Like they get checked. We'll tell you this, they get checked real quick. And just because you look a certain way and someone puts a belt on you, and it's great, right? Hey, who cares? Like, this is all, we're all on the same team. But sometimes if people get a little bit too familiar, you can kindly remind them that this is all fake and we're all just performing here.
Right. Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. Good shit, man.
Dude,
Aaron,
yes.
man, we really, really appreciate you coming on.
Yes, man.
Taking the time out, So this is awesome.
But car batteries.
It's all good, man. Thank you again, dude. Before me and Chili forget, dude, we want to ask you if you can give us a little promo shout out for the ANC podcast real fast.
Yeah. This is the former intellectual savior of the masses, Damien Sandow, now known as Aron Stevens, reminding you to catch the ANC podcast with Andrew Campbell and William Chili Willie Jones, good friend of mine. Now Andrew's a friend of mine too. We've all talked, and I hope to be on here.
Dude, thank you, man.
Thank you.
Aaron,
right,
this was awesome, dude.
Hey, thank you very much, A-Rod. Man, be safe out there, man, and tell all the guys, girls, that you see, that that I know, or whatever, who just tell them Chili Willie said hello, and look forward to seeing you on NWA Powerr, for real.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah.
And in the movies, I want to see you on Netflix, bro.
Yes, sir.
Take care, brother.
Thank you again, Aaron.
Later. No problem. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Next time this podcast needs saving, you already know who you need to call.
Here on the ANC podcast with Chili Willie and Andrew Campbell.
And you're listening to ANC Podcast.
Keep listening and have yourself an ear.